Hey, welcome back to Awaken Your Life with Angel. I am your host, Dr. Angel Jebailey, and as your quantum health coach, I am here to guide you through this fascinating connection of the science, spirituality, and even personal transformation. In this specific episode, we're going to hear talk a little bit about your soul. Like, how many of us wake up thinking, what am I here on earth? What's the purpose of all this? I mean, why am I going through the strands where I just get up, grow up, go to school, go to university, find a job, find a house, find a partner, make money, survive throughout the processes, get married, have kids, and then become a grandfather or grandmother, take care of the grandchildren, and then eventually get a disease and die, right? Same pattern. A lot of us keep doing this. And we always fighting to make sure that our reputation is good, that we're getting enough, attention, respect, value. A lot of people have these concepts like, what's the point of all this? So, this episode, I want you to show you a little bit more about why you're here on Earth. Like, what is the purpose of you being on Earth? Not all of us will have the same purpose, but there is a general idea of why you're supposed to be here. But why not first understand where is your soul actually coming from? And how are you interacting with other people? What does the other people has to do with your life in this situation? So let's first understand that in schools we only are taught about the physical body, right? The skeleton, the muscles, but they don't teach you about your spirit. They don't talk about where is your spirit come from. Unless you go to some religion schools, then they will actually tell you about what their holy book says about God and how you were created. But you ever notice that they only talk about how your physical body was created? The Adam and Eve coming from the soil, from the clay, but nobody really actually tells you about exactly where is your spirit coming from. So this is one of the things that you really need to know. Like, you really have to understand where is your spirit and how your spirit is actually connected to this universe. Some call it God or energy. So one thing that I have seen in schools is that they teach you from the bottom up, like an outward causation. Like, first you have the particles, atoms, right? Electrons, neutrons, stuff like this. And then they build the molecules. And then from molecules to cells, cells to tissues and organs, to eventually your brain. And then from there, something outside of your body, which we don't know what it is, God, right? And barely touched on. Just maximum they tell you is what God tells you. It gives you some rules and some ideas that you have to follow through. Otherwise, you're going to hell, putting some fear in you. But that's the biggest mistakes in schools is they don't teach you the other way, which I consider as a downward causation, which we are talking about first understand the universe, first understand the energy, and understand how the energy is what makes you move on the physical earth. So by understanding that you are coming from the outside in to a physical world, that means starting from the universe and the energy and bring it through your brain, through your point of your heart to your cells, you understand that every single particle inside of you is like your little tiny soldier. And whatever your heart and your brain are talking, they are the ones like a commander general telling the rest of your cells and every single tiny particle of you what to do. Or you can think of this, every cell in your body is like a city. And inside of your city or your cell, there's a bunch of particles moving. So basically, your spirit is commanding these guys and it's telling them what to do. So it's never from inside out. It's all about the outside going in. And what I mean the outside, we're talking about from the spirit coming into the physical body. A lot of people have to understand that your physical body is just a tip of the iceberg. It's not everything. It's just a tiny little piece of who you truly are. But we put so much emphasis on our physical body, on our physical status, on our names, on where we came from, our nationality, our skins. These stuff are just the tiniest little thing of who you truly are, but we get so obsessed with it. And I'm hopefully that by the end of this video, you kind of disattach a bit about it, not take it too personally, because once you do that, you're going to be able to move through earth in a much graceful way. So you have to understand that you are more than just a physical body. You are a spiritual being experiencing this physical world. Your physical body is just a vehicle. It's like a car that you chose to ride, and believe it or not, you actually chose how this car should look like. So when you are in the mirror attacking your eyes or your forehead or your chin or your cheeks, guess what? You actually created that. No, it wasn't God. You made the decision how you wanted your body to be. You also made a decision who is the family that you want to interact with. All of these stuffs are created or decided even before you're born because there's a lesson to learn. But the most important thing is that you're never walking alone on earth. That's an illusion. If you only knew how much spiritual connection, how much energy surrounding you, it is there to support you, to guide you. The messages of numbers are coming in. Those are the angel guides. Also, people coming to you, they're guiding too. Sometimes you can say, oh, but people can be so mean to you. Guess what? That's still a way to guide you, to tell you what you want and what you don't want to experience. So everything that you see on earth is there to help you. Nothing is to hurt you. Although we have this idea that when I see people killing, when I see people mistreating, that's hurt. Yes, it is. But there's a lesson to learn. And the true lesson here is to learn about energy, understand energy in different forms, in different frequencies. Because the more we can master different types of energy, the more we can expand our energy. And that's the main purpose on Earth. But we have to experience energy in different forms. And what exactly is different forms? It just means different situations. Like if somebody comes and says, do you know what it's like to be a doctor? And you're going to say, well, I never was a doctor, so I don't know. Well, guess what? That's exactly the point of Earth. Sometimes you're going to come as a doctor. Sometimes you're going to come out as a nurse. Sometimes you're going to come out as a garbage man. Sometimes you're going to come out as a plant. Another time you're going to come out as a seahorse. You're going to experience Earth in different perspectives. And different times you're a different person, so a man or a female. And what's going to happen is you're going to experience different types of relationships, be it toxic to healthy ones, and different types of teachers, different types of friends, enemies. These are all different types of energy experiences. And that's why we learn about emotions and feelings because these are our guidelines. When something happened to us and we understand the emotion, in another translation, that means we understand what kind of energy that is. So if somebody hurts you, the first thing in your mind is like, what? It's not why they're hurting me. You'll be like, ooh, I understand what pain feels. Ooh, I don't like this energy. And this is where the duality comes. There's always a opposite. So there's like a black and white, a good and bad, right and wrong, happy, sad. That's what Earth is as a duality. You see the extremes of the two sides. So you have to experience both to understand which one you want. Because if life was always about being happy, how would you know that you're happy if you never heard or felt sadness? And believe it or not, your spirit is unconditional love. So if your spirit has always been in the spirit form and never in the physical form, how would you know the difference between love and hate? How would you know the difference between excited and bored? You wouldn't know. These kind of emotions only happen in the physical realm here on planet Earth. And that's why we say that planet, it is the graduating school, because here you're really going to experience the lowest of the lowest vibrations and the highest of the high. Here you can experience all of them. So to be on Earth, you must be really good with playing with energy and manipulating. So a little big, huge pat on your back because, buddy, it is not easy to be on Earth. And if you're here, it's because you really have mastered the exploration of energy. And believe it or not, in the entire universe, the planet it's one of the very few that is able to go through this roller coasters of highs and lows and be able to handle it. Many spiritual beings, even aliens, they are in a much higher frequency. When they try to come to Earth, they can't because it's a low vibration. They can't handle it. It's a lot of pain. So we are here to understand different types of energy. That's the whole purpose. With that in mind, let's understand where is your soul really actually coming from? All of it is coming from this one divine source. And this divine source, think of it as this huge fireball. And then it just expands into like branches coming out of it. And those branches end up being different types of lines of oversouls. And oversouls expands even more into higher selves. And then from higher selves into the soul. And then the soul enters a physical body. Now you have to understand that this is just think of fractals. Think of, if you had a droplet of water, and if you touch that droplet of water and you start pushing the water, you will see that it will start making lines. So that's just the energy. It's the energy lines coming out, and these becoming bigger lines and bigger lines, like your nervous system, like nerves after nerves connecting around. And all of these nerves are always in connection, send information back and forth all the time. And that's what it is. You are just an extension of the divine source. You're just one of those lines that are coming out of this energy. And you always existed in this universe. There was no such thing as you did not exist. You always been on the universe at all times. There's no beginning, no end. But on earth, because we enter into the physic realm, we actually understand the beginning and the end. But outside of this, you are eternal. You always have been eternal, just like the divine source. So let's understand more about each one of these sections, starting with the divine source. What exactly is this divine source, this ball of energy that I told you? It's this infinite origin of all the existence. It's pure, it's universal consciousness, it has all the energy of the life. This is the point of creation, the starting point of all the spiritual manifestations. That means all of the existence is interconnected in the deepest level, forming this big, huge, one unified field of being, which is, some people call it God, and some people call it universe, and some people just call it energy. So it's really up to you. And this energy starts spreading the branches into a bunch of different oversouls. Now, these oversouls, what are they? They're collective consciousness. There's usually it's a multiple groups of souls together. And the reason why these souls are together is because they are evolving and growing as one. And when they're evolving, they are learning the same kind of lessons, the same kind of themes they have to go through. They're learning the same kind of energy perspective in some way. Now, the oversouls, how do you know that somebody is part of this group of souls that we're talking about? These are the peoples that you have the biggest connection with. Now, when you're walking on earth and you feel this very deep, familiar connection with some people, it can be not just family and relatives, but it can also be friends, it can be lovers. These are the people that you actually are coming from the same oversoul group. So our souls that walk together on earth, learning a lot about the physical reality together. Now, it does not mean that you cannot connect with souls from other oversouls. You still can do this. It happens all the time. So souls from the other group of souls can come and connect with you, give you some lessons, some interactions, and then leave. But the ones that are constantly coming to you in different lifetimes, these souls, all of you guys are coming from the same family, a soul family, which we call the oversoul. Now, the oversoul, as I was talking about, it's different souls, right? So different souls are coming out of the oversoul, but this we call them as higher selves. So the oversoul expands it to a bunch of our higher selves. Now, how many are higher selves? Nobody has the exact number. Some people say 12, some people say 50. Nobody has that information here on Earth. But the oversoul just basically expand into branches. So think of a tree, and that tree has a bunch of branches coming out of it. And each branch is a higher self. Now, in each one of those branches, the higher self, it branches even more to tiny ones, which will become a bunch of souls. But we're going to get to that. First, let's understand what the higher self is. Higher self is you, but in a more expanded version, a one that understands exactly the reason why you are on earth. It's the one that has all the informations, who knows all the soul contracts that you have created before you came to earth. It's like a guide. He's always there to provide you with wisdom and is always there to support you. So basically, every time you have an intuition, it is your higher self talking to you. And it comes through different messages, signals. It's coming through your heart, it comes through your mind, it comes through your friends, it comes through the planet. Anyway, numbers, I don't know. It's always there. The higher self is always around you, pushing you, providing you support, and making sure that you're following that soul contract as well as the theme of your life at that moment. But at the same time, as you go through life, everything that you're doing, the higher self is picking up all the information and sending back to the oversoul group, as the oversoul group is sending to God or to the divine source. That's why the divine source knows all the information that is going on at all times, because there is this connection instantly happening at all times. So your higher self can expand to so many souls in two types of version. One of the versions of your souls, which first of all, you have to understand that your soul is an individual, right? It has this internal presence, it has this unique identity, a specific lesson that it has learned, and it will have a specific trait. So you will eventually, this one specific soul will get one specific physical body, and you will experience life. As you experience, it's learning different types of energies, highs and lows, and it's understanding through it what exactly is energy and how to manipulate it. That's what you're doing. And the soul goes to the earth through a physical body as the higher self is guiding it. Some people understand this as reincarnation. Higher self splits into many souls, and these souls are going through different lifetimes. So, which means what? It means that you probably had past lives. How many past lives? We don't know. But here is what you have to understand about past lives. All the past lives are happening at exactly the same time, because on earth we think about time, but outside of the physical realm, time doesn't exist. It's non-linear, which that means all your past lives are happening at the same time. Why? Because your higher self has created all these different souls at the same time. So all these souls are experiencing Earth at the same time. And they're sending all the information they're learning up to the higher self as the higher self is guiding them through. Now, there's a version where your higher self, it basically breaks you down into different souls, and these souls are going through different lifetimes. Maybe you lived at 800 BC, then 300 AD, then 1700, 1800, and then now in the 2000s. So you have different lifetimes. Now, when this is happening in different lifetimes, your soul is going through different bodies, different names, different characters. Another one is when you, let's say, you have this one soul in a physical body. Let's say your name is Sarah and you're a female and you have red hair. Sarah with the red hair, she is experiencing Earth and with a specific body, but it doesn't mean that there's only one reality. Sarah's body, this soul with this body, is experiencing many realities at the same time. Others will say dimensions. So that means Sarah is right in the crossroad between two roads. One of the Sarahs will go to the left and the other one will go to the right. Those two are happening at the same time, those two realities. So think about, maybe Sarah wanted to be a singer or a doctor. Guess what? In two different realities, that's Sarah with the same body, and one she's a doctor, and then one she's a singer. Those are two happening at the same time. It's a splits of decisions. That's why when we talk about quantum leap, what exactly is quantum leap? Is when you jump from one reality to another, but you're keeping the same soul in the same physical body. That's not the same thing as reincarnation. Reincarnation is where your soul is another soul that's coming from the same higher self, and you are using another physical body, and you experience Earth at a different timing. But believe it or not, all your past lives are happening exactly at the same time as you are right now, as well as all the different realities are happening all at the same. Everything is happening at the same time. There's no future, there is no past. That energy is spreading and expressing all possible ways, everything at the same time. That's why sometimes we can do hypnosis and life regressions and stuff like this, and we can contact with the other ones, not because it's a past, but because all these energies are happening at the same time, and all of these branches are all connected to this one divine source. So you can easily connect. And the quantum leap that we talk about is that it all depends on your belief and mindset. So if Sarah changes her belief system and Sarah changes the way she thinks about Earth, she jumps from one reality to another. It's not that the surrounding changes, it's that she changed from one reality to another, but that's who she truly is. So going back here to understand a little back to the concept, we have the oversoul, which is a group of souls, and then it extends to a bunch of higher selves. These higher selves, basically, they come with contracts when they decided to make a soul. So two higher selves will say, hey, I will be the mother, you'll be the daughter. Okay, and the other higher self says, I will be the grandmother, and another higher self says, hey, I'm going to be the partner and the brother and then the friends. And what they do, they make contracts saying, we're going to be on earth at a specific time to learn a specific lesson. So we're going to go through different types of situations, and these situations we're going to learn different types of emotions and feelings, and we're going to learn from different perspectives. Now, what does that mean with different perspectives? It means two higher selves can say, in this lifetime, I'm going to be your mom and you're going to be your daughter. So you're going to understand what it's like to be a mother and how it is like to raise, while the other one is going to be the daughter and learn how to be protected and taken care of. But in the next time the higher selves come together, their souls are going to be the daughter will become the mom and the mom will become the daughter. So you flip the roles. Sometimes you're going to be friends, and then the next time you're going to be enemies. So you guys are playing games, like, actors decided to play a play. Let's say they have a play where you have different characters. So today you're going to be Mr. Bartolomeo. Tomorrow you're going to be Mr. Green. But you guys are playing the same story, but in different perspectives. Why? Because you want to learn about the energy in different view. It's like looking at the number six or maybe the nine, depending on how you look. Another example, think of this way. Um, let's just say in the past life you're a man that you killed this guy, right? And remember, this guy is also from the same Oversoul group. He felt what it's like to get the bullet in his body. He felt the pain. He felt the betrayal. You, on the other hand, you felt the guilt, or maybe you felt the rage of the killing. So when you both are out of the physical body, you guys are like, ooh, now I know what it's like, that energy of being a killer. Ooh, I know what is the energy of a victim. How about next time we flip? You be the killer, I be the victim. So they flip the scenario and he does the opposite. So they go back to Earth with different physical bodies and then they play the same story. But now they're playing the opposite. Whoever was the victim becomes the killer, and who was the killer becomes a victim. But this is the reason why we say don't hate on people who mistreat you. Don't hate on people that are bullying you or talking bad about you or hurting you. Because believe it or not, you never know if in past life you did that to them. As many people call this as a karma. But karma is not a punishment. Karma is just telling you that whatever react, there will be whatever action, there will be a reaction. You have to learn the two sides of the coin, not because is a way of saying you were bad and now I'm going to put you through some tough situation. No, it's about you learning the different positions, the different perspectives, the different types of energy. You're going to understand the energy of a killer. You're going to understand the energy of a victim. And that can go back and forth in so many other different types of scenarios in life. It can be understanding what it's like to be a teacher. It can be understanding what it's like to be a person with one leg. There's so many different themes on earth that you can be playing here. That's why many people had so many past lives, which, by the way, be very clear that it's not as you get older that your soul becomes older. That's not true. Like you can have somebody at the age of 55 who is a young soul, and you can have a 15-year-old who is an old soul. What does it mean, the difference between a young soul and an old soul? Is a young soul is somebody who just started to get physical into the world. Basically, they only been on earth a couple times. An old soul is somebody who has been on earth so many times and experienced earth in so many different perspectives. That's why sometimes you bump into a 16-year-old and you're talking to them and they seem so, poised and mature. And you feel like they can talk about a lot of deep information. And you're like, how? And this is because they're also, they've been on earth, they understand energy much more. And then you can have somebody at, 76 who can't really talk or understand anything about life. And that's because they're just starting to build on earth. They probably only been on earth maybe two, four times or three times. I don't know. That's the difference between a young and an old soul. And believe it or not, the Generation Z as well as the Alpha ones, most of the ones that are incarnating right now on Earth are old souls. They're here because they want to experience this massive shift that is happening. So you're going to see a lot more of old souls showing up on Earth just because we're in the moment where there's a massive energy change and they want to experience this kind of energy change that is happening. Now, this comes to the point of you understanding about your soul purpose. If you start to notice the patterns in your life, you start noticing some of the limit beliefs that you have, those are the lessons that you're going to learn. So in your family, if you have some family of yours that are being very toxic to you, do not look with them with anger. Look with them with compassion. It does not mean that you have to sit there and put up with it. First, you understand what exactly is the emotion comes out of it. And once you understand and forgive and let it go, you move on to the next thing. The only reason why you keep staying on the same pattern and getting the same toxic stuff is because you don't want to learn the lesson. You want to stick on that one emotion that you're repressing and you don't want to get rid of. Let me give you an example. Let's just say that you are in a family where everybody, relatives and parents, are always gossiping, always competing, always comparing, and for them, every reputation means everything in the world for them. So you leave the house and you go to university and then you join some club. And in that club, you start seeing the same thing. People are competing with each other, very toxic. There's rumors here and stuff. What does that mean? That means that as you were back in the old days in your childhood, going through this family dynamic of all these toxic, most of these emotions were not really fully processed. Some of them probably were repressed, or no, they weren't dealt in the right way. So they are there. And what happens? Because that emotion is still inside of you, you will continue to attract the same situation again until you learn to understand that emotion, cope with that emotion, process it, release it, and let it go as in forgiveness and move on. When you do this, you're not going to be exposed anymore to that kind of dynamic. But many people don't do that. That's why they keep seeing patterns in their life. If you keep seeing the same thing happen to you, it's because you still have not learned the lesson. And that lesson will continue until you learn. Once you learn, you just move on and it doesn't show up anymore. So you are not really here because you have to be rich and get a degree and have a specific status and a job. No, you're here to experience earth through highs and lows. And you're not here to go and judge people. Do you understand that everybody here on earth are here to learn about energy? And sometimes energy can be as low as being people that are just selling drugs and all the bad stuff they're doing. And there's people who are there to just get rich and learn what it's like to be bored as rich. There's so many different possibilities on earth. But the most important thing is that you have to start listening to your intuition. And what exactly is listening to your intuition? Is basically every time you feel this desire to do something because you know that it will make you really happy, that's what you need to follow through, with one condition: as long as you are not intentionally or purposely trying to hurt someone. If you're doing that, then most likely you are choosing the wrong thing and it's not your intuition anymore talking. Your intuition is always going for the good service for yourself as well as for the other beings. And if somebody hurts you, trust me, your job is not to go and judge and be angry with them. Your job is to understand why they were doing this to you. And once you understand why they were doing this to you, it could probably be about your past life. It could probably mean that something inside of you resonate with this kind of energy that you just need to process. So if someone comes and says to you, why you're here on earth, the answer is simple. I am here to learn about energy, to learn about different types of vibrations from low to high, emotions that are sad to emotions that are happy, to learn the duality. And the more I learn and know how to cope and not be so stuck on the low vibration or so stuck on the high vibration, when I know how to go through it, ride in a smooth, easy, then you have mastered this energy. But many people do not want to ride. They want to be in a monotone, and that's usually when you're dead, anyways. But if you are able to go through every single event in your life with ease, without anxiousness, without these worries, then you have mastered the energy because you know that your name, your nationality, your skin color, the amount of money in your bank doesn't matter. You have been riding earth so many times. It's about how you feel. It's about finding the next excitement. And usually when people start following their intuition and the next thing that excites them, you start creating new types of energy. And when you have new types of energy, the earth shifts into a new expansion. And that expansion of energy leads to happiness. It leads to new creations, new ideas, discoveries. And that's what we are all about. But the reason why we continue being stuck on things is because we keep thinking about the problems of the past, or we keep fearing the future, or all that anxiety that shows up thinking, how are we going to make sure that we do the right thing so people can look at us and say that, hey, you're good, you did the right thing. Let go of all that. Take 1 second at a time, not even a day, 1 second at a time. That 1 second, feel good. The next second, feel good. By the third time, you start to feel something bad, say, why am I feeling it? Rationalize and says, you know what? Doesn't matter because in the second, I still feel safe and I feel good. You don't need to know all the answers to what's coming up. When you trust the universe and you know that your higher self is always guiding you, no matter what's going to happen, it's always for your good. And no matter what it is, good or bad, it doesn't matter because it's going to teach you a lesson that is going to make you be more aware and be more ready to say, I want this and I don't want that. That's what it is. All these things that are happening to you is for you to see which one it resonates with you and what doesn't resonate with you. If some people say things that you don't resonate with, hey, that's a plus. Now you know what you don't like. So now you can go and focus on what you like. That's what the whole purpose of Earth is. It's just about you learning different types of emotions and energies and seeing Earth in a different perspective. It is not really about you finding the right person and finding the right job and getting good money. That's just a consequence as you ride through these emotions. And believe it or not, the more you ride without trying to so much be obsessive and controlling it, everything that you want comes so much faster to you. Whatever is good supposed to be happening to you, you already did this contract way before you came in. So if you wanted to have a big house and a big car, and you wanted to have your own jet, and you have this perfect part and stuff, all of this was already planned before you came to Earth. The only reason why they don't show up to you is because you pick up a lot of noise. And what I mean by noise is the society telling you things that keeps you on fear. It's those limit beliefs that says that you're not capable of it, you're not good enough, you're not lovable, you are imperfect. These are the things that stops you from getting, because your vibration is already high enough. What I mean by that, your spirit is already unconditional love. It already has, your higher self already has unconditional love. And as it projects through your soul and enters your body, your soul always has always been an unconditional love. But it's the physical body that might pick up the information surrounding that makes you think the opposite. That's why we say that your heart has to be in coherence with your mind. When they both align, believe me, everything that is meant for you, for your goodness, will come quickly. The only reason why it's not coming to you, it's not because you have to vibrate harder, because you have to be excited at all times. It's because you need to stop resisting to things that are happening to you and accept them as they are, with compassion, with love, and realize that everything is teaching you something, which means everything is there as your mentor, as a support system for you to simply know what you want, what you don't want, and stop caring what people think about you, because it doesn't really matter. Stop worrying about your reputation. Stop worrying if you're going to be rich or poor. Stop worrying if you're going to find your partner or not. Stop all that, because that's what's stopping you from getting. It is the worrying, it's the tiredness of waiting, it's the excessive desire to control everything around you that is blocking you from receiving what you are meant to receive. So once you learn to just take the roller coaster and ride it with fun without the stress, everything comes nice and easy. Even pain becomes much easier to deal with it. And what I mean by that is, yes, you will feel that 1 second of that pain, but because you are letting the pain go through your body without resistance, it goes in and out faster. The person who are resisting the pain, who don't want to feel the pain, it just prolongs this emotion, and this pain, this feeling continues. So stop resisting the idea of emotion. And for all the people out there who say, oh, you're too oversensitive, I'm sorry to say this. The truth is, you have to be sensitive. You need to start feeling it, because the faster you feel this stuff, the better it is. The more you allow these emotions to come in, and eventually with time, you'll be able to manage them. So kudos there to all the oversensitive people. You are not wrong to have this sensitivity. That's what helps you guide. And don't worry about what people are thinking. Just feel it, process, release, and continue to ride on. Remember, every single thing that you are experiencing is not just for you. All these energies, information that is passing through Earth are being transmitted to your higher self, eventually to the Oversoul group, and eventually to the divine source. So we are all connected as one. Whatever you're doing, even if you're sitting at your sofa doing nothing, your energy is still affecting every single soul around this entire universe. Your soul that is coming from a higher self is in another planet. You might be an alien in another lifetime, in another dimension. You don't know about that. That's why some people have this thing where I feel like I come from the reptilians, or the Arcturians, is because in another lifetime, their soul was part of it. So we're not just souls from the physical world. We're the soul from the entire universe. And we can be any part of the universe at any time. And once again, as we believe God is omnipresent, you are omnipresent in every single corner of the universe. And the energy is spreading up and down, sideways, downwards, whatever it is. It's basically telling us how can we create new energy. And right now on Earth, there's a massive energy exchange happening, and you should look at it with happiness and be ready to ride this new type of energy because it's going to be completely new experience. New feelings are going to rise, and as usual, the divine source will keep expanding. So I hope this gives you a little bit more of an understanding why your soul is on Earth. On the next episode, I will talk a little bit more about the different dimensions of 3D, 4D, and 5D consciousness. But until then, you know where to find me here. You can subscribe to this podcast, Awaken Your Life with Angel. You can find me on Instagram at Coach Jebailey, or my YouTube channel, Dr. Angel Jebailey 1111, as well as my website, www.angelajebailey.com, which I do have coaching services to help people transform their lives, bring that heaven into their earth. So until then, let's awaken our lives and heal from all these things that doesn't serve us. So thank you so much and see you next time. Take care.